Welcome to Crafts and Minis. 12 weeks in to the hashtag Hobby Streak Challenge, doing just a little bit in the hobby every day. And this is the fruit of last week, my 12th week doing it. I cannot believe that. That, if my math is right, is like 3 months of doing a little bit in the hobby every day. So thank you for the accountability, everybody. And when I say accountability, I mean you're checking in on these videos. We're connecting on social media. I am loving this community, and this hobby that I've loved for years is being taken to a whole nother level, which has been awesome. So thanks for the support. And I love seeing what everybody else is doing. Before I forget, this week in the hobby, I love seeing on YouTube Frankie D. Crafter. He's amazing. We've been going back and forth a little bit on Twitter too. And this pink flying whale out of a dollar store toy whale that he did, you got to look it up. Frankie, letter D, period, Crafter. Great channel. Dungeon Matster is bringing it strong with his videos. He did this great video on like bookshelves. That was incredible. And just put out another one too on a dwarven encounter that I thought was really cool for this dwarf trap. And then Plus One Pencil. Like, it is a crime that this guy has fewer subscribers than I do at this point. And I'm just like waiting for the day when I wake up and I'm like, oh yeah, Plus One Pencil exploded, because he is a D&D scholar. And I love too that he's into Warhammer and all that too, because I've got, diverse tastes as well. And I just love every time he posts a video. They're so well done. And he had the bravery this week to do something that not many of us would do: go through his pile of unpainted miniatures and show the world. And what was so cool that I really appreciated was Plus One Pencil did that in a way that showed each manufacturer together, the group of models. So that's not everybody I watched this week. This community is bringing it strong every week, which I love. There was some great stuff from Bill Allen and the convention that he was part of, and all the folks that I think Initiative Coffee Company, I hope I'm saying that right, covered this convention up in the Chicagoland area. And that's where I went to school at one point. So I love seeing that area explode with just great stuff for the hobby. One of my favorite game stores in the world is Games Plus, that travels to some different conventions like Gen Con, which is awesome. But that store is amazing. But of course, my heart is at Overland Park, Kansas with Tabletop Game and Hobby. They are my faves. Enough of the chit chat, even though you should definitely go support all the incredible members of our community. I wanted to show you what I got done. So first of all, some miniatures that might stand out here. You might have seen in another one of my videos on the Disney toys from the Hercules movie from the 90s. Whoa, sorry, dragon. This is one of those toys. This was like a Earth Titan from the movie. It has 2 heads, which is really cool. And I am okay satisfied with this paint job, not like totally satisfied. Turned out way dark. That's fine. It's cool. For an Earth Titan, whatever. I could try to up the highlights a bit or work in some other colors. But you know what? Honestly, I've painted this model now like 4 or 5 times because I sold some at a local convention and done as beautiful. Now, on the others that I've done, like I have one on a bookshelf that I just saw. I saw that I painted the mouth the same color as the eyes, the red. If you think this would look better with that red mouth to complement the red eyes, let me know. I will make it happen. I also have to apologize. Last week, for week 11, I talked about this spray primer for matte varnishing that I was really pumped on. Well, the weather has been horrible where I'm at. And this week, it's been freezing. It's been freezing rain, sleet, snow, ice, just nasty for that type of thing outside. So I'm going to have to wait till the weather clears up to give you a better, honest review of that spray varnish for the matte ceiling. But it is going to be worth it. What I'm holding in my hands right now, you saw last week in black. This week you see it in purple, but with a different style base. And this turned out better than I thought it would. I zenithal primed this, black all the way around, sprayed it white from the top, and then I went back and did manual highlighting of a couple different shades of white before I just bathed this thing. And Daler Rowney, D-A-L-E-R, Rowney, FW Acrylic Artist Inks, and this was Purple Lake, the shade, and it ended up having some really cool shades, even some pinkish shades and hues, which is so cool. And I just like it. Now, up close, yeah, you're going to see some blemishes. But on the table, this thing's awesome. And you can see the base. Now, the base I didn't like when it was just primed. I thought, oh, well, this miniature is going to have to be rebased. It's hot glue. I mean, you can tell that now that I say it, right? And there's a lot of cool effects you can do with hot glue, as so many amazing channels out there show us. But this I did as a way to kind of show like a chaotic, magical, or ooze, or slime, or pudding, whatever effect on the base that then formed into more of a blobby body. So I think when it's all together, and especially on the tabletop, it's going to get some oohs and ahs. That was not supposed to be a deliberate pun on oozes. Also, this week, I got done some of these little earth elemental dudes and dudettes. They are cool. The body is from the old World of Warcraft board game. This is not sold retail anymore. You're going to have to get it secondhand, which I have gotten a copy of that game with some extra miniatures at a local convention this year. So I had some of these from that. And then I also found some great lots on eBay, which if you see these on eBay, snap them up. They're really cool miniatures. And they have a different head that actually is in like this cavity in the body piece of this particular model. Like sunken in there, and it's okay. Someone online, either the Evil Twin Mason, I think is your full handle, who started the Discord that's linked in the description of this video on cheap miniatures, asked like what was wrong with the original head, and honestly, nothing. Like, it'd be fine. I have some. I'll paint them up that way, I'm sure. But I also had extras of these heads from this Reaper Rock Elemental because of a conversion I did on a bunch of those for a Kings of War army that has stalled. So I had a bunch of these heads left over, and I'm like, let's do it. Now, as a group, I think they look really cool. They are not painted that well. I mean, like, I don't want to tell you how much time these took. Hardly any time at all. You can tell if you look close by the effort, but for earth elementals or rock golems, some sort of earthy constructs, they're fine, and it's cool just to have a big old group of them. Also, from Reaper this week, I believe these are the Bat Demons, and these painted up really nice. They actually have to go on a bigger size base, I think, because of the wings. Like, if the wings are just huge, they just expand so much on this particular model. And this isn't red. It might look red on the camera. This is a brownish red. It's more brown, actually, than red. And I did that on purpose because, red and black would have been classic. But I wanted these to be a little off red once I started getting going. And this is just one of those that was a failure to start. I painted these in a total different color. Actually, the same color I paint all my Umber Hulks in. And then I messed it up. I messed all of them up. And then I'm like, you know what, dang it. I'm going to fix them. And so I got sick of painting these at a certain point. So I just tried to finish quickly. And I went with real extreme shadows here. Like, you can see the musculature and the wings have these extreme black and dark brown shadows. And the ends of the wings I did like this on purpose because I wanted them to be more grimy. Like, when it puts its wings down, it's more likely to drag in the mud, or this is where the most worn part, even of the model, they modeled to be more worn at the end. So I just wanted to make those not necessarily even just dirtier, but just like more worn, So yeah, I don't know. They look okay. And I have another one to paint up, I know for sure. But spoiler. I'm going to show you how to use the same model, take the wings off, and do a conversion on the head that turns this into an awesome classic D&D monster that I'm not going to give away right now. I stole the idea from someone I saw do it on a forum, and I will love showing the channel that. But they turned out okay. And it's always cool to have some winged monsters that these would count as size large just from the base. But, if you're not using a grid or not a stickler for that type of thing, could definitely just be medium-sized creatures also. Is really cool. Before I get to everyone's favorite, the dragon, I want to show this Privateer Press miniature. This week, this was the only medium-sized miniature I did. And once you start painting minis, after a while, you realize, sometimes the big miniatures, like all the other ones I've already shown you, are way easier and quicker to paint than the medium-sized ones. And that was the case with this one. And you notice the purple all around, on 3 different miniatures here distinctly. That's because I have to make a confession. I don't use a wet palette yet. I own a wet palette. I don't have it set up. I'm lazy and my workspace is messy and I need to clear the space and just utilize it. So when I use inks and paints and all that and squirt them out on a dry palette, I like to use it up and not waste. Because it all does add up after a while. Even though I'm guilty of wasting paint just like everybody else. And so the purple ended up on her. And what was cool is she's going to be an NPC in my ongoing D&D campaign that I just got going again last week, which I'm so excited I get to play again this coming weekend. And she was an impromptu character I just threw in there at the end of the last session just to create some intrigue. And I'm so cool. I'm so glad just to have a model that matched. But what was so cool is, like, I've had this model. I love this model. I just love the pose, right? I love hoods on minis. Hoods up. What was so cool is I had this primed already and assembled. And, if you look at some of my other videos, you see, like the one I show you, all those models that are based but not primed. I go through these huge phases like of basing and assembling just a ton of miniatures and doing conversions. And then I go on my painting phase for a few months. Well, for the weather in my area, since I like to prime using spray cans, I couldn't do it in the winter. Right, I couldn't count on the winter weather being consistent enough to like do one project at a time where I assemble and then base and prime and then paint and then start on another project. Right, I can't do that. So I have a ton of miniatures primed and ready to be painted because I was preparing for the winter, and that has worked out really well for me. It's like having a cool like catalog of miniatures at my fingertips, all ready to go. So I look at that shelf, those few shelves all the time and think, okay, what is really striking me this week to paint? And honestly, that's how I've been able to get so much done with this hashtag hobby streak also, is because I have them ready to go. So whatever you can do to save some time and take away roadblocks in your hobby, do it. For me, that's having a bunch of miniatures primed. This is a dragon on a 2-inch or large size base, 50 millimeter. This is from WizKids. I can't remember if it was the Pathfinder or the D&D series of miniatures, but I think it's I'm going to say Temple Dragon, although I think Reaper might have one called that too. But you'll see it. It's the dragon that's $5 US dollars retail, and it worked out great. Primed it, black all over, white from the top, went back highlighted with white just to pick out a bunch of areas. Used that purple lake from Daler-Rowney FW acrylic artist inks all over the place. And then while it was still wet, I went in with the indigo from that same line and did the tips of the wings. And then I went in with a watered down teal and did these little spikes, which I think might be called pinions. I don't know. I'm not a zoologist. My dad did get a degree in that, though, and he watches these videos. And believe me, if you think it's motivating to do the hashtag hobby streak, my dad, he calls me out all the time when I see him. He's like, hey, it's been 5 days since a video. When are you going to do another video? He is amazing, but I'm so just pleased that he gifted me this hobby because he's the one who got me into it. So, Dad, shout out to you. This ended up being pretty good. Since I did the inks while they were both still wet, that's technically wet blending, y'all. I know we hear these terms and we get all intimidated. Oh, wet blending, how do you do it? Well, one paint is wet. You put another paint that's wet, mix it up, and let one flow into the other. Sorry, I'm not mocking anybody. I was the one who was intimidated by those type of terms for so long. And you know what? Just try it. Practice it. These wings, I really like. Right? It's got the pinks in there, there's the purples, the blues, different hues of all of those. And it ended up really good. I mean, it's a little sloppy, and that's fine. It's not going to win any competitions. But I really liked it. And what got me motivated, it's like, man, I can get multiples of this since they're affordable, right? $5 each. And have then all the different colors of dragons if I want. It worked out really well. And just a little tip. Okay, I've been painting the monster eyes. You know this if you've been watching these vids, red. Really, they're painted white, and then I use Tamiya clear red over the white. And then what you got to do is go in with a dark gray or black or super dark brown and then just line it. Like do some black lining. And if I wanted to take this miniature up to the next level, that'd be the easiest next step to do. Do some good black lining. Where the horns meet the scales, the purple, I should do some black lining in there. Separate those colors a little bit, and that makes it pop. Where the pinions hit the wing, I should do some black lining in there. Make it pop. So that would just be a little something I could do if I want to take this miniature to the next level. But you know what? For me, this is done. And what do we say, folks? Like they say, done is beautiful. So thanks for taking a look at that. This week was crazy. And I say that with the weather. I say that in terms of what I was able to get done. I was really pleased with like one super productive day. But then other days, I got hardly anything done. But that's my encouragement to you. Don't let those rough days stop you. You know what to do. Go get after your hobby.